Hi, I'm Travis Montz with Once Upon a Board Game, and today I want to teach you how to play In the Footsteps of Marie Curie. This is a game, it's got a long name, but the game is really quick and short. It's by a company, I love the name, it cracks me up every time I see it. They're called Sorry We Are French. They always have a big booth set up at the Essen Spiel, the big board game convention here in Germany. But they put out a game with a similar title. I guess they've got this kind of historical figures series of games called In the Footsteps of, whatever person. And the one they did last year was In the Footsteps of Darwin. And that was one of the three finalists, one of the three nominees for the German Spiel des Jahres, the German Game of the Year, which is, pretty much like winning the Oscars. It's pretty much regarded as one of the very, top honors of what you can win in the board game world. So this was the follow-up by that same company. Different designers, but the same company that put this out. The other one it plays differently. This uses a cube tower, which you drop cubes in and different things come out. It's something that I really have enjoyed in games. So let me show you how it plays, then I'll come back and tell you what I think about it. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to be teaching In the Footsteps of Marie Curie. Okay, I haven't fully set it up because I just want to show a couple of other things. So this does go up to 4 players, so there are a couple more player boards, which we won't need. I'm just showing it as a 2-player game. There's a really good rule book and an appendix. The appendix is kind of cool because part of the game board, it shows a timeline, which of course is the timeline of the game. When this marker gets to the last space, that's what ends the game. But also in the appendix, these are all basically real-life milestones in the life of Marie Curie. And it kind of talks about, it just gives you good information about what all those events are. It's pretty informational, really cool to read this. But then on the back page, it just has a quick summary of what happens at each of those little steps if you have a question. So there's a good reference for what those different timeline steps mean. Similarly, in the main rule book, at the back, there's a good breakdown of what some of the different tiles and cards, what they mean. If you have any questions what the icons are referring to, there's a good breakdown in the back of the rule book. It's really not that necessary. It's pretty simplistic in terms of icons and what they mean. After you've played it once, I'm sure you're not going to need that, but it's a good reference to have in case you do have a question. There's also, it comes with a cloth bag. I'm not really sure what it's for. It doesn't get used during gameplay. Maybe it's just for storing some of the pieces in the box. So I'll just go ahead and set that aside. There's also these little Pantheon, I think they call them workshop tiles in the rule book. Each one has a different number. So I have the one with the 2-player symbol there because we're doing a 2-player game, but there's one for 3 players or 4 players. So you select the appropriate one depending on your player count and set it there. Then you put the little workshop marker in the lower left space on the workshop. Then you would shuffle the deck of cards and lay out 4. You would put the timeline marker on the first space. For the moment, set aside the Marie Curie tile. That comes into play later. Whoever is chosen to be the start player, I think the rules say the person that most recently conducted an experiment becomes the start player. Or if not, then choose by any random method that you choose. So there's these thesis tiles. There's levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can mix those up and set them there. There's also these flasks and these beakers. It does have a spot on the board to kind of shuffle them up and make a stack, but I've basically what we've preferred to do is just leave them all mixed up so that each person can really get kind of a random draw rather than just have one stack. But do it however you prefer. It does say to set the cubes off to the side because we're going to have a cube tower in this game, which is this. I'll come back to this in a second. And it doesn't want you to confuse the supply with what comes out of the cube tower. Of course, there's a supply of victory point tokens, and then each player has a player board. So one last thing as part of setup, there are these little objective tiles. So you're going to randomize that, mix them all up. Then each player gets one of those as their own objective, and you put it at the top of your board. Okay? Whoops. All right. Then the rest you can just set aside. You don't need them in the game. Then one last thing. This is a cube tower. We're going to be dropping wooden cubes into it. But before I finish, and it comes in 3 pieces, so it fits in the box just fine. But you'll notice that there's all these little ledges and spaces in there. So as you put it together, if you look through, hopefully that's a good top-down view, you can see that as you drop cubes, sometimes cubes get stuck. So what you drop in doesn't always come out the bottom. Sometimes maybe I drop something in and this turn it doesn't all come out, but maybe on the next turn I drop something in and something that was stuck on a previous turn does come out. So it gives a good deal of variability in terms of what comes out each turn. So it's kind of fun to have the cube tower. So Once you've got the board set up with the cards and the thesis tiles and the workshop and the timer, and everybody's got their player board with an objective, you're ready to go. Okay, so how does a game play? What are we trying to do? Well, as you can see here, there's a supply of victory point tiles. So as you might imagine, the goal is to score the most points. And I will mention that this is not a really high scoring game. In the times that we've played, the winning score is typically maybe in the 11 to 14 point range. So again, every point counts. It's not super high scoring. So what happens is you play a certain number of rounds until eventually this timeline marker reaches the last space, where you see the little game end hourglass. When that happens, you play till every person has had an equal number of turns. So that's why you have a little start player marker, so you remember who went first. So in this case, if I'm the start player, Allie will get the ultimate last turn of the game. Okay. So once everyone has had an equal number of turns and the timeline markers in the last space, then the game is over, and you add up your points, and the most points wins. Okay. So what are we trying to do? How do we score points? How does a round work? Well, at the top of the board is a great little visual representation of the flow of each round. Okay. So you see, the first thing that happens every round is you drop cubes into the tower based on what is showing inside the current little workshop ring. Okay. After that, step 2 is you get a choice of either taking cubes from what just dropped out of the tower or taking a thesis. That's the little step number 2. So you get either or, to take a thesis or take cubes from the tower. Step 3 is basically, kind of the heart of your turn. That's where you take actions. You can there's a couple of different options of what you can do, and you can do pretty much all those things as much as you want, with the exception of buying a card. You see that ×1 at the top of the box number 3? You can buy at most 1 card. And the cards are these things over here, right? So you can buy at most 1 card and then do some other actions. Finally, when you're done with all that kind of stuff, you end your turn by checking how many cubes do I have still in storage, and you check against your storage limit, and then you advance the ring, the little workshop ring, to the next space. And that's a turn. So turns are really simple and straightforward. Okay, so as you can see, step 1 is to drop cubes into the tower. So you see at the start of the game, you see that there's 4 black cubes. So of the cubes in the game, they represent some of the different materials that Marie Curie worked with. The black is the pitch blende, the gold is the uranium, and the silver is the radium. And it's kind of fun too. When you read through the rule book, there's some interesting facts about, kind of the scarcity. Like it talked about how I think it took her, sometimes she would have to sort through 400 tons of the pitch blende before she could isolate even a single gram of radium, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, kind of geeking out a little bit here. But you see, round 1, I dropped 4 of these pitch blende cubes into the tower. So we'll see what comes out. Okay, so you see, only 3 of the 4 came out. So 1 got stuck in there somewhere. Okay, so now that's step 1. Step 2 is I can either take a thesis or I can take cubes. Okay, now I want to just illustrate a little player board here for a second, because this is also kind of important for the game. You'll notice, first and foremost, up here in the corner is where you're going to be able to store your little victory point tokens. So that's where you'll keep your score. Here is where you'll keep track of the theses that you've gotten over the course of the game. Here's where you can take additional, the beakers and the flasks. And then over here is where you would basically store your cubes. Here again is your objective you're trying to do. And down here on the bottom is a little reminder of some of the conversions that you can do at any point during your turn. And then at the bottom where there's these icons, this is where any of the cards that I buy from the display, the cards would go below the corresponding symbol, below my card, or below my player board here. Okay, so I want to mention, when you take cubes, that step number 2, where I either take a thesis or I take cubes, the taking cubes limit is 3. Okay, I can take at most 3 cubes from what fell out of the tower. Over the course of the game, I can add additional of these beakers to increase the amount that I can take. Up to each one would add an additional +1, right? So if I had a completed beaker there, I would be able to take 4 cubes from what came out of the tower. Okay, so you can see you can get up to 3 additional. So you could be taking up to 6 cubes from what fell out of the tower over the course of the game. Next to that is basically your storage limit. So at the end of the round, any cubes that you have not used for some other action, you have to store in your flask here, okay? And you see at the start of the game, you have a storage limit of 3 cubes. And as you can imagine, with these circular flasks, these round flasks, you could increase your storage capacity. Okay, so it could be up to as much as 6. Okay, I'll get back to how you get these and how you, because each one has a little task you have to complete to be able to get that upgrade. So I'll come back to that. But I just want to mention that the taking of cubes, you can take 3, and the storage of cubes, you can store 3. Okay, so that's kind of important for how your turn flows. So I drop the cubes. Step 2, I either take cubes, which my limit would be 3, so I could take all 3 of those, or I can take a thesis. Oh, what do I want to do? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and take cubes. Okay, so I will take 3 cubes. Any cubes that you take, they always go into your storage. Okay, that's step 2. Step 3, I start doing actions. Okay, so one action is I can buy at most 1 card per turn. Well, I didn't talk about it, but my little private objective that I'm trying to complete, which will give me a point if I do it, is it tells me I want to take any one type of card and I want to maximize the amount. Basically, I want to max out the benefits I can get for that card. What do I mean by that? Well, let me show you a card. I'll grab a couple of cards as illustration of what I mean. Okay. There's 5 different kinds of cards in the game, and they correspond with the symbols on the bottom of the board. So you see along the bottom of the board, there's the portrait, there's the flask, there's the book, there's the desk, there's the university, right? So there's those 5 kinds of cards. All the cards, and you see each corresponding card has the matching symbol. So if I bought this card, I would put it below this symbol on my board. And this one would go down here, of course, right? All the cards in the deck are basically the same. So all the cards that have that symbol, they all have the same information at the bottom. All the university cards have that same information, okay? What happens when you buy a card? And of course, the cost to buy a card is in the upper left-hand corner, okay? And then the benefit, of course, is what's on the bottom. When you buy a card, you would put it below, like I said, below the corresponding symbol, and then you would immediately get a benefit. And the benefit you get determines how many of that same type of card do you already own now, okay? Including that card. So if I were to buy this one, this would be my first card of its type. So being the first card of its type, it would give me a single gold cube, which is the uranium. If I were to buy this guy, this one I would have to advance the clock 1 step on the timeline, which gets us closer to the end of the game, right? And it would give me a black cube, a pitch blend, okay? Because that would be my first university card, okay? Then later on in the game, like if I bought this and I took a uranium, that's good. On a future turn, if I were to then buy a second one of these cards, right? So now I have 2 of those. Now, buying that second card would give me benefit number 2, because you see there's 2 of those cards that I own. That would give me one of the radium, one of the silver cubes. So that's how the cards work. You can buy 1 card per turn, you put it below its corresponding symbol, and then you get the benefit based on how many of that kind of card you have. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So like I was saying, my private objective to get me another point is to take 1 type of card and maximize that benefit, okay? So you better believe I want to buy cards. And this one, and why not? This one, to max it out, I only need to get 4 of those kind of cards, whereas the university, I would need 5. Same thing with the desk. I would need 5 of those kind of cards. So I will go ahead and buy this card. To buy this card, it costs 2 pitch blend. So of the 3 that I just took, I pay 2 to the bank, and I put this card below me. And again, my first card of that type, it gets me a uranium. So I take a uranium, put it in my supply. Okay, then you refill the card supply, and then I look, can I do anything else? Well, at any point during your turn, you can do conversions. And once again, I'm zooming back in. All right, you can see in the bottom right corner of your board here is a little chart that shows conversions you can do at any point during your turn. You can take 2 pitch blend and make it into a uranium. 2 uranium can become a radium, or at any point you can spend 2 radium and a uranium to get a point, okay? So with just a single uranium and a single pitch blend, I can't really do any of these traits. I've already bought my limit of 1 card, and so really, right now, there's nothing else that I can do. So I would say, okay, I'm done. So then when I'm done with my actions, which is step 3, I look at step 4. I check my storage limit. I can store 3 cubes. I only have 2, so I'm safe. I don't have to lose any. And then we advance the ring to the next step. That's my turn. Now it comes to Allie. So Allie, step 1, you look there and drop cubes into the tower, okay? So you see 2 black, so 2 pitch blend and 1 gold, 1 uranium. So she'll take those and she'll drop them into the tower and see what comes out. Whoops, I dropped one. Oh, wow, that was lousy for her. Only 1 came out. So here's one of those instances. Wow, you know what? If she were to take cubes, even though she could take 3, there's only 1 available. So she's thinking, well, you know what? Instead of taking cubes, I'm going to take a thesis. So again, a lot of times I just lay these out kind of like that so everybody can get a randomized thesis. So she'll take this thesis, for instance. And the theses, as you can see on your player board, you have space for 1 of each type. So numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can only ever get 1 of each type, and you have to get them in order, right? Each one is just going to give you some benefit. Wow, okay, great. This gives Allie the chance to take one of those upgrade tiles for the chance to improve her ability to take cubes or to store cubes. So she'll put that there. Maybe once she does it, she'll just flip it over as a reminder that she's already taken thesis number 1. And Allie, right now, she likes the option of maybe taking more cubes on a future turn. So she'll randomly draw one of these, okay? Because that will give her the chance to take more cubes at the start of her turn. But to be able to do this, she has to complete a task. So she puts it with this task side face up on her board. Okay, this says basically at some point during her turn, during that action phase that I was just doing, she can spend 3 pitch blend to advance the timer 1 step. And then, of course, then she would flip it over, and then she'd get this benefit from there on out for the rest of the game. Okay, so she'll put it there. Okay, she's got no other cubes because she didn't take any. She just took a thesis. So she's done with her actions. So then, obviously, well, that was just step 2, really. You know, she took the thesis. She has no cubes to take actions with. So we end her turn by looking. She's not over her limit. She doesn't have any. Then we advance the little ring on the workshop. So here's an important thing. You'll notice at the top there is one of the little clock symbols for the timer. Whenever you advance the ring to one of those symbols at the end of somebody's turn, you advance that marker. Okay? So as Allie's ending her turn and advancing it, we advance this marker, which, hey, by the way, right now, everybody at the game, everybody at the table gets to take one of those things. Allie says, great, I took one of those. Let me take the other type now, because she wants to try and increase her storage capacity as well. So to complete this, to flip it over, she would have to pay 2 uranium to convert them into 2 radium. Hey, that's maybe a free upgrade. So she likes that. She likes being able to do that, and plus it'll help her. So she'll take that, and I'm thinking, I don't have either yet. I could take whatever one I want. I'm going to go with what Allie did. I'm going to try and take something to increase my ability to take cubes. So this says I would need to spend pitch blend and 3 radium. Oh, that's expensive, but it gives me a free thesis of whatever number I'm working on, and it gives me a point. So that's going to be hard to do, but it's going to give me a point. It's going to be good for me when I can do it. Okay, so that was the little benefit of advancing, you know, the timer of what happened on that step. And again, this step, they all have some real life significance in the life of Marie Curie, and they're all outlined in the appendix, which is kind of cool if you ever want to look and get that information. But on the back, the iconography, you can see every player draws one of the beakers or the round bottom flasks, right? So it gives a little summary of what each step means. So that was the end of Allie's turn. She advanced it, and it had a clock, so we advanced it, and then we all got the benefit. So now it comes to me. I look, okay, step number 1, 3 black, 3 pitch blend, and one uranium. So that's what I need to drop into the cube tower. So there's 3 black and 1 gold. Let me drop those in, see what comes out. Ooh, okay, well, some more got stuck, but I'm glad to see a uranium came out. Okay, so there's 3. Currently, that is my limit of taking 3, so I'll take all of them. Okay, I'm also thinking, okay, well, I got to keep this in the back of my mind as well. At some point, I want to be able to completely fill up 1 card type. So I'm thinking, you know what? There is another one of those same flasks, and I do have 2 pitch blend. So I will go ahead and buy my 1 card per turn. I'll spend 2 black cubes to buy that same kind of card. This is now my 2nd card of that type, so I get benefit number 2. I get a free radium. That's awesome. Okay. So if I were to end my turn right now, I would have 4 cubes. My limit is 3. I would have to lose 1. I don't want to do that. Okay. I haven't met this objective yet, so I can't do that. I can't buy another card, although I should refill from what I took. Okay. I don't have enough to do this yet, but you know what I will do? I can do a little conversion of 2 uranium, turn that into 1 radium. So I can spend 2 gold cubes to make a silver cube. And now I'm just 1 radium away from meeting this objective of 3 silver and a black. Okay, I like that. That puts me at my limit of 3. My turn is over. So I move to step 4. I have not exceeded my storage capacity. Then I advance the ring. So Allie now will drop 2 black and a gold and a silver. So 2 pitch blend and the uranium and a radium. She'll drop those into the tower and see what comes out. Ooh, she likes that. She really likes that. Okay, so she, again, can take 3. Okay, so theoretically, she would maybe want to take, actually, sure, she will. She will take the 3 more valuable cubes. Okay, I was thinking maybe she'd want some black to help with this task, but that's not even enough. Plus, these are the upgraded better cubes, which she could buy a card. She could, spend a uranium to get one of these cards. She's thinking, okay, if I buy one of those, I would get a black cube and the clock would advance, which would give me another black cube. That's not too exciting. If she spends a black and a gold, she doesn't even have it, but that would give her another one of these flasks or beakers. So she's thinking, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and spend these two uraniums to complete this task. So I will convert them into 2 radiums, which is great. Those are the upgraded goods. And then she'll flip it over. So from now on, she can store up to 4 at the end of her turn. So with 3 radium, there's no cards cost a radium right now. And so she's just going to call it quits for her turn. So she'll look, step number 4, she has a capacity of 4. She only has 3. She's good. This advances. Boom. We hit another one of those little clock symbols. This advances. Everyone gets a black cube. Okay. Now this is an important distinction right now that I want to mention. It's a moot point for Allie because she can store up to 4. I can only store up to 3, right? And currently I have 4 cubes. It doesn't matter. The only time that you check that limit is at the end of your turn. So when other events or other things get triggered and, or maybe even during the course of your turn when you take cubes, you can have more than your limit during your turn or before the end of your turn. It's just when you end your turn that you check your limit. So even though I currently was already at my limit, getting that extra cube as a benefit I don't have to discard it. I don't check it until the end of my next turn. Okay, so that's an important distinction. Okay, so again, Allie advanced it to here. So when it comes back to my turn, I drop 2 pitch blend and 2 uranium. So let me grab 2 gold and 2 black. Okay, I got those. Let me drop them into the cube tower here. Ooh, okay, so there's a bunch that came out. Again, I can still only take 3 because I haven't upgraded this yet. So I want to eventually get, you know what I'm going to do? I'll do this. I'm going to take 2 gold, 2 uranium, and a pitch blend. That'll be what I take. Okay. Now, do I want to buy a card? Oh, you know what? I could buy a card, but then it would wipe me out where I wouldn't be able to do this. I think I want to do this, and I'll show you how. Okay. I need to get a black and 3 silvers. I currently have 2. Okay. However, look, I can take 2 uranium, upgrade them to a radium. Boom. I just got the black and the 3 silvers that I need to complete that little objective. Okay. So I pay those, and that lets me flip this over, which will increase my ability to take cubes. But before I flip it, I get to take the thesis that I next need, which I have to start with thesis number 1. So I'll take this one. Oh, sweet. That lets me choose another one of those little beaker tiles. Again, like Allie had done, I already have one of these. I'll take one of those. And that's going to, oh, nice. I will show you what that means in just a second. Okay, so I took that benefit, and that was the beaker, or sorry, the thesis, and then I also scored 1 point for doing that. And then I flip it over as complete. Okay? So I still am in the action phase. Okay, I'm looking at this also, and I'm thinking, you know what? I could complete this right now because I could convert 2 black into a gold, and then I could spend the gold. All I need is to spend a gold, and what this lets me do, I'd be able to flip this over and increase my storage capacity. But also the benefit of that, when I could immediately take a card and immediately put it in front of me without having to pay a cost. That seems great. My only caveat is I'm thinking maybe I want to wait until there's another one of these little flask cards so I can get that for free. So maybe I'll hold off for now. I might do that maybe on my next turn. Okay, I could do that, but I'm going to wait with a chance of maybe getting a better benefit. So I will say I'm going to end my actions. I check my storage. I have 2. I can store 3. I'm good. So we advance the ring. Oh, what happens? Okay, if you notice when you come to here, you see a little arrow to flip it over. So you flip this to the other side. And then it starts at the first spot there. And oh, there's another little clock. So we advance this 1 step. So right now, we look and say, it says, oh, everybody, if they want, they can pay. This was another reason. I should have mentioned that. This is another reason why I didn't want to spend those cubes at the end of my turn, because I saw that this was coming. Okay. But we can all spend 1 black cube to take either a beaker or a flask, right? I think, hey, that's a great idea. I'll spend one of my cubes to do that. So will Allie. So we can all take an additional one. I like to maybe increase my capacity to take. So I'll take one. Ooh, I got to spend 4 uranium. But then I get to get a free card, and I get to take the Marie Curie tile, which I'll come back to that in a minute. Allie chooses, she'll do the same thing. She wants to increase her capacity to take cubes. So she'll draw one of those randomly. Okay, this is an easier one for her to do. It says if she just needs to pay 2 uranium and basically get downgraded into 2 pitch blend, but that's easier to do. So she's not too upset with that one. Okay, so that was the advancing of the clock really at the end of my turn. Okay, and we all got this benefit. Allie starts by taking those cubes, two blacks, so 2 pitch blend, and a radium and a uranium. She drops them into the tower to see what comes out. Oh, jeez, I keep missing. Okay, well, she likes that there's that. She wishes there was more than just black, but she can take still only 3. Okay, after thinking about it for a sec, Allie sees a good opportunity to get a point that I'm not going to be able to get. So she says, I'm going to take these 3 cubes, the 2 pitch blend and the uranium that just fell out. Okay, she could, whoops, I had that flipped. I was thinking about doing that, but she could immediately convert these 2 black cubes into uranium and complete this objective, but she's got something else in mind first. Okay, first of all, she's looking at one of these university cards. Okay, she says, if I spend that uranium on this, for a single uranium, I can buy this card. This says, advance the clock 1 step, which nothing happens at that step, but she gets a black cube back. Okay, and this, of course, goes down in her matching little university slot. Then she says, look, I've got 3 black cubes. I can pay those to meet this objective. Boom, I do that, and oh, by the way, that advances the clock 1 more step. We'll come back to this in just 1 second. Okay, so she flips this over, and now 2 things happen. First of all, we look at the clock. When the clock comes to here, it says everybody at the table can pay a radium to score a point. Allie says, haha, I have a radium. I'm going to pay it to score a point. And I say, Allie, oh, you suck. I was hoping to be able to do that on my turn. I didn't think the clock was going to advance that fast. And she laughs, and I cry. Just kidding. But one other important thing happens, okay? If you'll notice, I'll bring the player board close one last time. You'll see that in between the flask and the beaker, there's a little point. What that's telling you is once I have successfully completed the task, once I've successfully flipped those over to make those upgrades to my workshop here, I get an additional point. Okay, so for having completed both of those, she now scores an extra point. So if she at a later date takes one of these and completes both of those, she'll score another point, and so on. And oh, by the way, Allie's private objective is she wants to have at least 5 of these things on her, of the 6 slots, she wants to have 5 of them filled. Whether they're completed or not, her task is just to have 5 of them, okay? But Allie's excited about flipping this one over and getting the point, okay? So she just got 2 points that turn, and I didn't get any. So she's excited about that. Now, what she had left is just 2 radium. She can't, and we'll replace the card that she bought. With 2 radium, she can't really do anything, so she'll end her turn by checking her storage capacity. She's good. She can store up to 4. She only has 2. She's good. The ring advances. So for me, I'm going to drop 1 cube of each color and hope that I can get something good. Oh, the radium got stuck in there. I can take 4 cubes because I got this little beaker complete. So I'll take those 4, and I'm thinking, what do I want to do? Well, I can't quite get this. I could pay one of those to just take a card. Oh, but you know what I want to do? I'll maybe do this. I'll say, you know what? I will pay a single black cube to buy this card, this little book card. And for the first card of that type that I take, I get to get my next thesis for free. So I will put this here, and I'll say, I will take thesis number 2, thank you. Well, let me draw one randomly. Let me see which is going to be the best. I'll take this one. Oh, that's kind of lame. Maybe I should have taken the other one. This says I get 2 black cubes. Not super exciting, but oh well, at least I got another thesis complete. Okay, so that was my once per turn buy a card action. So we'll refill the supply. Ooh, and I'm excited to see that another one of those beaker cards came out. Maybe on my next turn. Oh, you know what? I could even do it right now because I'm not buying that card. I can say I will spend this 1 uranium to fulfill this objective. Okay, which not only increases my storage capacity, it gives me the benefit of taking a card for free. Okay. Even though I already bought my 1 card, this is a benefit. I'm not buying another card, Okay, I'm getting this as a benefit for completing one of my tasks. So that is something I can do. So I'm excited to take that same card, which is card number 3 of that type, which gives me another uranium, and I advance the clock one step on the timeline track. And I'm really excited about that because with that thesis that I just got, right now it says at this point in the timeline, if people have only taken one thesis so far, they just get a uranium, which is Allie's case. But if people have taken 2 or more, they get the radium. I'm excited about that. So I was happy with completing that objective, which I don't think I actually spent my uranium yet. I need to spend it. So I spend that and flip it over, and just like Allie did, I completed one of each, so I score a point. And I look, okay, I got all these cubes. I can store 4, so I got to do something with them. Okay, I can't buy another card. Not this turn yet. I have to wait till next turn at least. So what do I want to do? Well, I can't quite get that many. You know what? I'm going to at least make 2 pitch blend into a uranium. That's 2, 4, 5. That's still 5. That's still 5 cubes. I need to get 1 less. So I will convert 2 more into another uranium. So I'll do that. And that's my 4 cubes that I can store. So I'll say I'm good with my actions. I'm going to stop there. So then we look. Again, I check my capacity. 4, I'm good. So we advance the ring. When we advance the ring, we hit another one of those timelines. Boom. Right here, what this means is we wipe the slate clean of all the cards that were out on the display. Those all get discarded. And we put out 4 new cards. And then Allie gets to drop a pitch blend, 2 uranium, and a radium into the tower here. Ooh, she's excited. They all came back out. And she can take 4 with her current capacity. So she'll take all those, and she'll say, I will go ahead and complete this. I will pay 2 uranium to get, of course, I downgrade them effectively. But she completes that. So now on future turns, she can take 5 cubes from what come out of the tower. She's excited about that. She's thinking about buying another card also. She thinks if we were to advance the timeline, everybody just immediately gets a free radium, which is kind of exciting. And because when the timeline advances again, if we can pay a uranium and a radium, we'll get a point. So Allie's thinking, okay, I'm sitting pretty to be able to do that. So Allie's thinking, do I want to get a card? She says, sure. You know, why not? I'm going to go ahead and do that. So she will pay 1 radium to take this card, and that will advance the clock. Okay. And she's also thinking about this one. If she gets her second card, she's going to start getting points for getting more of these kind of cards. So she's excited about that. That advances the clock 1 step. So basically she gets the radium back that she just spent. So that was good. She's happy about that. And now Allie's thinking, you know what? I'm going to be over my limit. I can only store 4, and I got 2, 4, 6. I got 7. So Allie's thinking what I might want to do right now is do this other conversion. You can do at any point on your turn. Pay 2 radium and a uranium to get a point. So she'll spend 2 silver and a gold cube to take another point. Okay, she's happy about that. She's got 4 cubes left, so she's good. She's not over her limit. So we'll go and refill for the card she bought. Okay, so Allie's done with her action. She bought a card. She did a conversion. She's good. Okay, she's not over her limit. Then we advance the marker. I'm not too excited about dropping 3 black cubes, but so be it. That's what I get to do on my turn. So I say, I'll drop those. Ooh, good. A radium came out. I'm excited about that. So I'll take that, and I can take 4. So I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes. And I'll think, ooh, I can do this. I'm really excited about that because I can spend 2 black to make a uranium, and I can spend my other 2 black to make another uranium. Then I can spend 4 uranium, boom, 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 boom. Although, maybe I should hold on to 1 because at the end of my turn, it's going to advance. Maybe I should wait for that. I think I will wait. I'm going to spend 1 of them maybe to get, I'll buy a card. I'll buy the university card. And that says this will be my first one of that type. So I get a black cube and the clock advances right now. Okay, so I'll take the black cube. And right now we all have a chance. And I can spend 1 of each to get a point. Oh, and you know what, Allie, what she meant to do at the end of her turn, I forgot. I apologize, going back in time. She, knowing that was coming up, that it was coming soon, because it would have happened at the end of my turn, she was going to spend the 2 to also have a uranium so that she was prepped for that action. Because now that it's triggered, Allie also wanted to spend 1 of each to get a point. Okay? So that was me buying a card. So we'll refill. And right now, I'm looking at what I have. I can't fulfill that objective right now. I don't have over my limit. I'm just going to go ahead and stop. So again, my limit is 4. I have 4. So we advance the ring. The clock advances again. Boom. So right now, what it says is you currently wipe the slate clean of all the cubes that were left at the bottom of the tower unclaimed. Okay, so those go away. And then Allie will take her action of dropping cubes. She gets to drop the 2 gold and the 2 black, the 2 pitch blende and the 2 uranium. And I was going to go to the end of the game, but I want to take one more turn because I want to show you what happens here. So we drop those in the tower. Only 3 black came out. That's pretty lousy. She's not excited about that. She's thinking, you know what? I don't have a number 2 thesis yet, and there is another action coming down where I can get a better benefit if I have more theses. So Allie will take a level 2 thesis instead of just taking 3 lousy black cubes. She'll also say she'll take this one here. Ooh, and she's really excited about that because, again, her private objective is having 5 of these beakers. This would be number 4, right? She will go ahead and take another one of these to try and get another match for another point. So she'll take this one. So she's excited about that. So that's her thesis number 2. That was her turn. She could do actions with cubes, but with a single black cube, she can't even buy a card. So she's done. She's not over her limit. We advance the ring. And this is what I wanted to show. Once you've, again, we're currently on the back side of the little workshop tile, the roof of the Pantheon. So when you go there, boom, once again, you just flip it back over to the front side. So every time you make a loop, you flip it over again. Okay, and boom. At the end of her turn, advancing that advances the clock. So Allie's really excited. She pays that last black cube to get beaker number 5. She'll take this one. And that lets her, she has 5 total on her board. Again, this objective says it doesn't matter if they're completed or not, just having 5 does it. That gives her 1 point. So she'll flip that over to show that she scored it. And she'll take a point. Ooh, she'll even brag. She'll cash those in to show, haha. How do you like me now? I got 5 points. And I will also spend 1 black cube for that that event to take another one of those types. Okay. And then it will be my turn. So now I'll go ahead and advance to the end of the game. So I would normally take my turn as necessary. I just wanted to illustrate the fact that that roof just keeps flipping back over when you make the full loop. Okay, so I wanted to illustrate that at the end of Allie's turn before I go to the end of the game. Okay, we're almost to the end of the game. Allie just took her turn dropping cubes into the tower, and a whole slew came out. I was a little bummed because on my turn, I dropped them in, nothing came out. So I took a thesis tile, which was good because it gave me the Marie Curie and a radium, which I never talked about the Marie Curie earlier. Let me mention it right now. You can see first and foremost, it has 1 point on it. So whoever is in possession of this tile at the end of the game is going to score an extra point. Also, as long as you are in possession of this tile, at any point during your turn, you can do a conversion of 2 radium for 1 point. Typically, as you remember from the player board, the conversion that anybody can do on their turn at any time, as often as they want, is 2 radium and a uranium for 1 point. So Marie Curie basically lets you make the same conversion without the uranium. So she gives you a better conversion rate for points. So it's good to hold on to her because she's a point for whoever holds her at the end of the game, and you get a better conversion during your turn. So I got that on my last turn. I was able to get some good points out of it. We're almost tied. Right now it's 9-10. Allie's winning, and she just dropped and got a whole slew of cubes out of the tower. So she's thinking, oh, hopefully I can end it right now. Because as you can see, she was able to upgrade and get everything. So she's looking pretty. So she can take 6 cubes. So she says, I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubes. Thank you. I'm thinking, ooh, I just probably lost. Okay. Because what can she do? Well, she could buy a card. Let's see, can she buy a card that helps her? Ah, yes, she can. She will do this. She will pay 1 radium to buy this card here. And if you remember, she bought one of these earlier, so now that's her second of that kind of card. So now it says, advance the clock 1 step and score a point. Bummer. Right now, the clock is at the end of the track. So when we finish and we've had an equal number of turns, game over. I went first, so Allie's laughing. Haha. Right now, I would have 10 points, but she already has 11. Plus, she can score, I think, 1 more. Let's see if she can. She'll make the 2 pitch blende into a uranium. She'll make 2 uranium into a radium. She'll make the other 2 uranium into a radium. and then she'll do that 2 radium and 1 uranium for a point. So that was kind of the perfect mix. So she laughs maniacally at the fact that she just triggered the end of the game a step earlier. I thought I was going to still get another turn and then her turn before it would end, but she advanced the clock and ended it prematurely for me. So the final score would be my 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I score 1 point for having this tile, but Allie's got the 12 points with the ones that she just got on that turn. Womp womp, Allie wins again. I'm sensing a theme here with these playthroughs. But that's in the footsteps of Marie Curie. One last thing that I'll just point out as I'm about to put this away. We'll kind of see how many cubes were actually stuck in the tower over the course of the game. There's still something else in there. Okay, wow. So all these cubes were stuck in the tower. So you see there's a little bit of variability in terms of what you drop in and what comes out. So it kind of makes it fun. It gives you a little bit of chance. Hi. So once again, that's in the footsteps of Marie Curie. Okay, as you can see, it's quick. It's easy. I mean, the turns are just boom, 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 boom. Drop cubes in the tower. You know, choose to either take cubes or take that next thesis, and then spend those cubes making some conversions, or maybe buy a card, you know, complete and flip over one of those little flasks or beakers, and really end your turn. And it's like I said during the video. I mean, the scores are low. You know, like I think you saw. I think it was 12-10 was the final score. You know, of course, Allie beat me again, like typically happens in these run-through videos. But the games are quick. They're easy. It's one that I love the uncertainty of you know, dropping cubes in the tower. You never know what's going to come out, and you have to kind of adapt your plans accordingly. So that's always a fun thing. I always enjoy when board games have that. So hopefully this has, you know, shown you how to play, giving you a little idea of you know, what it might feel like to have this game on your table. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know. I'll put them in the comments below, and I'll respond if there's anything you want to know. And yeah, if there's something else you want me to cover, also put that in the comments. Let me know. But thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Travis Monson with Once Upon a Board Game.